Good morning, everyone. It's Victor speaking, and here is your week 4 forecast for February. This is our last week of the month, and it's full of information I have got to share. So let's get started. So, 21st of February is going to be starting with quite a major event because Ceres is going to enter the sign of Aries. Now, if you don't know what Ceres is, basically Demeter had a daughter, Persephone, whom the god of underworld, Hades, fell in love with. He stole Persephone and took her to his cold and dark underworld kingdom. According to the mythology, Demeter has taken back all her blessings to the world, leaving lands barren, cold, empty, and poor. First out of despair, and then later on, she was also raging about it. So all land was dying. The earth went dry. The plants died. People got hungry, sick, and poor as well. So Ceres has got a moon and the Plutonian character to it. But according to the mythology, Ceres and Pluto came to an agreement that her daughter will spend 6 months with her and 6 months underground with Hades. And that's how the seasons were born. Now, Ceres rules anything above vegetation. She is the asteroid of fertility, nurturing, something to do with the motherhood. Um, in hard aspects, Ceres can talk about the parent and the child relationship, how the child is getting along with her mother. Ceres is also so much to do with your eating habits, something to do with allergies and insensitivities, intolerance towards certain products. So, especially in hard aspects, when Ceres is prominent, actually someone can have issues with their stomach and with their digestion. Also, anything to do with, as I said, fertility, getting pregnant or losing a child is also associated with Ceres. Um, Also, it could indicate a mom who is very possessive, someone who is maybe stingy in hard aspects, but also it could indicate jealousy as well. It also reveals information about how you connect with your own child, whether you want to have a baby or not. And also a little bit of a female movement can be associated with this asteroid as well. By the way, she was discovered as number one asteroid, the very first one, somewhere in 1800s, at the beginning of the 1800s. And its house position will show you what area of life you want to be nurtured the most. But also in your own horoscope, Ceres reveals where you face the most intense issues about your own control or the lack of your control. So when Ceres is, as I said, it's very much to do with fertility, but it also the asteroid of the nature. Some people also associate her with weather conditions as well. So, of course, her moving into the sign of Aries could bring some extreme conditions. Obviously, Aries is very hot and dry, so some part of the world can be very hot, even though we are in a winter season. But also, it could indicate something to do with dryness, which is not necessarily good for vegetation. Um, um, Also, with Demeter or Ceres, there's a constant desire to be pregnant, to give birth to something. It is something to do with breastfeeding as well. I remember a very good friend of mine, when she was pregnant, she loved being pregnant. But when she gave birth, well, she has got an Aquarius moon, she was very detached. But her Ceres is actually conjuncting her rising sign, which is Taurus. And she is a brilliant mom, by the way, but she liked being more pregnant actually than running around with the kids. So that's very, very interesting. But at the same time, somehow Ceres in hard aspects can reject the feminism as well, because she thinks it devalues motherhood. So, and as I said, it's moving into the sign of Aries. So let's just think about what Aries is. Aries represents new beginnings, passion. So Ceres is going to be starting her new cycle, new chapter as well. And I think Ceres is so much to do with agriculture. So surely it might be an indication for us that in the upcoming month, the agriculture is going to be changing. Now, previously, of course, it was in the sign of Pisces, which encouraged us to let go. And now in Aries, it encourages to nurture new potentials, approaching things from a fresh perspective, having a fresh outlook on life. So this is actually a period of time when we can really give birth to new projects. Some people who want to get pregnant or want to establish their family, actually, this is a brilliant couple of months ahead. On the 21st, also Mercury is going direct. So after 3 weeks of being or having a retrograde motion, finally, it is moving forward. So most probably anything to do with the way of thinking, how we process information, or a little bit of a fuzziness around our thoughts is gonna start moving on. So I'm not gonna speak about Mercury direct because we've spoken about the retrograde periods already in a previous video. So check that out. But yes, we can start signing contracts again. We can start purchasing products. We might not need to read the fine prints so much anymore, and so forth. Now, we've got a couple of days of rest, and then on the 24th of February, Mars is going to be trining Pluto on 25 degrees of Taurus and Capricorn. Now, both of them are Earth signs. So it very much talks about an intense effort towards your long-term goals. Earth signs are very materialistic and they always want stability. So Mars in Taurus is very much about, Mars a little bit slow in Taurus. It takes a little while to get started, but once it does, it goes all the way. So this is the sign of consistency. This combination is a very power dynamics. So it's going to be asking you the questions whether you have got the power for something. Am I in control? And because there is a trine going on between them, trine talks about an easy, smooth way to deal with something, even if it seems to be tricky or challenging to start with. Yes, this is always going to be overcoming some challenges because Pluto is the planet of transformation. But this trine gives you the opportunity to figure your life out. Now, what's also interesting is that this trine is happening on a fixed star called Algol. Mars is on 25 degree and Algol is on 26. Now, Algol is also called as the Medusa's head. Now, Algol is said to be the most difficult stars of all. You can read in ancient textbooks, a prominent Algol can indicate that your head is going to get chopped off and so forth. I don't necessarily believe that's true. Let's not forget that Mars connects with Algol every 2 years. But we do need to be careful because we can make easily a mountain out of a molehill. We can react to things in a harsher way. Some people might be extremely worried about something. Some might be very reactive to issues, or even watch out for headaches, especially with Ceres moving into the sign of Aries, which actually can, Aries and Mars rules your blood flow. Aries is the head, so it can really, the season change can somehow make you feel a little bit depressed, or just causing some chemical imbalance in your body. But because it's a trine, there is also a possibility to succeed with something. You might have started at the beginning of the year when Mars moved into the sign of Taurus, which was on the 6th of January. And you can use your powerful charisma, but it also increases sexual desire. So this aspect can be used for togetherness as well, to create some intense feelings with your partner. And probably you can use a little bit of a creativity as well. Now, Mars and Pluto together are very competitive, and we might be a little bit more confident about winning. So if you have got a situation where you are expecting to win, actually this aspect can help. This aspect can be helpful. Also, Mars very much about your energy level, and whatever Pluto touches, it intensifies it. So you can be full of energy today, but also you can be very desirous about gaining power as well. You might be able to transform your motivation level. Also, Mars represents somehow your life force. Pluto is the planet of death, so you can even get into life and death situations, but you can come out of it just greatly with that trine. Also, we're talking about Mars, which represents passion in your chart, and Pluto is your secret. So you can be very passionate about revealing some of your secrets to others, or to dig up some of the dirt or the skeleton from the closet from the past. Mars is, as I said, the planet of blood. So some of you, especially if it's your female cycle, can indicate more bleeding as well. So you might want to be careful about that. This month or this week is definitely about health, because there is going to be a full moon happening in the sign of Virgo, but I'm going to speak to you about that very shortly. So Pluto and Mars is a very, very favorable aspect in the sport industry as well. So if you have got a match to play, or something you want to win, then actually it can grant it for you. Okay, so the next aspect, which is very, very prominent for us this week, is actually Venus moving into the sign of Pisces, which is going to be happening on the 25th of February. Now, I think the Aquarian energy is easing up. The sun has already moved into the sign of Pisces, and now Venus joins. And this is a great piece of news for us, because Venus is exalted in the sign of Pisces. It is a sign where she loves spending time. Now, Venus is the planet of love, as well as something to do with your financial background. But Pisces does not care about financials, the material world, as much. So this is the aspect which talks about more about sweet togetherness, a spiritual connection with others, or with a romantic partner. We can be highly romantic in this period. Venus represents your throat. Pisces is all about creativity. So actually, this is a brilliant time to actually sing, or soothe yourself with music and artistic endeavors. The key, I think, here is to feed your soul with universal joy. And if you want to do that, you can do that through art, poetry, music, dance. Venus doesn't care much about the material success in the sign of Pisces. It is more about the quality of relationship with others. pleasing others. Venus will be quite close to the Sun the entire month, so somehow Venus is getting the spotlight from the Sun. And if we start thinking about the keywords of both, then Venus is pleasure, Pisces is the collective, and spirituality. So you might discover something spiritual. You might start a healing project, which you enjoy extremely well, extremely a lot. Venus is the planet of beauty. And as I said, Pisces is associated with healing. So this is a brilliant month to start. For instance, if you have got acne on your skin or some type of skin problems, Venus rules the skin. But Venus is the love of art in Pisces. So it's a very good period of time to actually paint or create something. Now, Venus is going to be conjuncting on the 28th of February, a fixed star called Formalhaut. Now, this fixed star is definitely my favorite one because Formalhaut conjuncts my rising sign, and Venus being very close as well. Formalhaut is somewhere around 4 degrees of Pisces. Now, according to Ptolemy, Formalhaut is associated with the winter solstice, and it has got the nature of Venus and Mercury. So Venus and Mercury is very idealistic, psychic abilities, lovable, refined, very intelligent. And also Venus and Mercury is very good for songwriting or writing poetry or writing any type of novels, short stories, and so forth. For instance, Formalhaut with Venus is very, in many cases, it's very much triggered in musicians and singers' charts. So, for instance, if you have got Formalhaut with your ascendant, actually it can give someone fame or a name which is going to be remembered for a very long time, maybe after their own death as well. So Formalhaut rules the heel of your right foot. So this month it's extremely good for going to look after your feet. So pedicure or just having a foot massage could be very, very good. Now, somehow Formalhaut is also associated with spiritual wisdom. So this is all about a mystical wisdom you can actually gain insight about. This is a very enchanting placement with Venus and Formalhaut. Spirituality is definitely called forth. So it's a brilliant time to start, for instance, a spiritual practice. Or if you want to be working with some mystical subjects, then it's a good day to launch. Or if you want to be participating in a spiritual course, also very, very good to do so. Now, 25th is quite an eventful day because at the same time, we've got Sun sextile Uranus. And this could bring you pleasant surprises. It is very much stimulating your ego and your mind. Very good time to try something new, which you have wanted for a long time. Freedom is in the spotlight, and there's an increased self-awareness as well. You might actually meet someone very interesting around these days, and the person might fascinate you quite a lot. But you might be extremely innovative, or you might spend a lot more time on computers, or this is a day when you want to be buying an electronics. So you can go ahead, Mercury is already direct, and now Sun sextile Uranus also gives you that energy. You might feel more electrified, and you feel very strongly about your physical well-being. So this is actually a very good aspect. Also, this might be a day this might not be a day when you should actually try to focus on your routines, because you can easily get distracted. But you can be a lot more passionate about science. If you want to start an internet-based business, actually this is a brilliant day, so you can go ahead with it. Now, Uranus and the Sun together is very much about brilliance and intelligence. So also a very good day to gain more insight into matters what you have been interested in for a while. Now, on the 27th of February, we are going to be having a full moon. So what is a full moon? When the sun and the moon are in opposition. So this is very much associated with the sea and water overall. And of course, the body contains 70% water. So it can affect you on a psychological, but on a physical level as well. So with full moon, your behavior tends to be changing. So for instance, back in the days, and if I'm not mistaken nowadays as well, in England, they scheduled more police force around full moons because they knew that people were a lot more buzzy and a little bit crazier as well, let's put it that way. Because let's not forget that the full moon is very much about um, your ego is having a clash with your emotional needs. So your wants and your needs somehow are not met. Therefore, any type of oppositions in many cases talk about how we relate to others. Now, as I said, this full moon is going to be happening in the Pisces and Virgo axis. And Pisces is pretty emphasized, especially since 2012, because we have got Neptune in there. But this time around, we will be having Venus and the Sun as well. So there is a stellium going on there. So um, this is the health axis. You might want to be paying attention to the water retention of your body. You can get dehydrated, so you need to be drinking plenty of water. But on a mundane level, this is the axis of rains and floods as well. So as I mentioned, with Ceres moving into the sign of Aries, which can indicate some hot weather at some part of the world, the other part of the world might have got plenty of rains and floods going on as well. Now, I would say that those regions are the most emphasized, where the country's ascendant is Sagittarius, because the fourth house cusp is going to be Pisces, which rules the motherland, or countries who have got moon or sun in the sign of Pisces. Also, the Pisces rising sign countries belong to this group as well. Now, this full moon is definitely an interesting one, as the next new moon is also going to be in Pisces. So with full moon, what is hidden comes to light. Any type of matters somehow getting highlighted. Full moon talks about the highest visibility of the moon, right? So something is coming out of the shadow, basically. And now let's just explore what Virgo is. Virgo can be, of course, each sign has got their positive and negative manifestations. So Virgo can be very critical. So this full moon highlights the need to be more patient with yourself, less critical. Virgo can be very health orientated. So it's asking you the question, am I doing the right diet? Am I eating properly? Am I doing enough exercise? So somehow the health matters are coming to light. And I'm guessing, of course, it's going to be somehow COVID related. Virgo is also very service orientated. So I'm very much hopeful that this full moon in the next 6 weeks, or let's say 3 months, is going to be helping to open up some of the shops and restaurants, at least in some countries. On a Monday 11, Virgo is very much about your day-to-day job routine. So there is going to be a focus on what time are we going to work? Most probably, I'm guessing it's going to be some of the restrictions so that you can't leave your house, for instance, after 8 p.m. and so forth. So this full moon is very much about your career and health matters. Now, also what's interesting about this full moon is that all planets are clustered in one side of the chart and the moon is on the other. And this is something we call in astrology as a bucket shape. And the moon acts like the handle of the bucket. So imagine a bucket full of water. It's not that easy to carry, right? And the moon has to do that. So we call it as in an apex planet or a singular planet. So everything falls onto the shoulder of the moon, which actually represents people. So, and of course, your emotional well-being. Moon is so much to do with medical fields anyway, because it rules your body. So, and in your personal charts, wherever Virgo house cusp is, that is where you might feel a push and pull energy. So the questions each of you might need to answer in the upcoming few weeks. What area of life can I introduce new habits? What area of life do I not accept myself? Because think about it, Virgo is very critical, and the opposite sign, which is Pisces, very compassionate. So what area of life am I overly critical? Am I doing enough exercise? Am I eating well? Do I have got any habits which needs changing? Do I listen enough to my body? Because if not, then it's time to do so and then creating new habits. So these are going to be the major questions of this full moon, which by the way happens of 8 degree of Virgo. So, but also this is going to be highlighting how organized you are. Virgo wants to dissolve any type of chaos around themselves, and they want to be paying attention to details. But yeah, this is the sign of perfection. But once we overdo something and it does not work out properly, we can also become paralyzed. So you might want to be paying attention to that. Now, of course, this full moon is ruled by ruled by Mercury, which I already mentioned that it has gone station direct. So we might feel at the beginning that things are not moving that fast, but actually it starts moving ahead. It could also indicate that you might receive some information which reveals which ways we can go forward. So you might come up with a plan of how to get going. There is also another very interesting factor about this full moon, which kind of happens quite rarely. But this full moon has got a yacht. So therefore, this is a very fated full moon. And the yod is created with Chiron in Aries and Saturn in Aquarius. Now, if you don't know what yods are, basically there are two inconjunctions, and there is a sextile involved here. So the inconjunction, or another name of it is quincunx, is asking you to change something or make an adjustment in those houses where the planets sit. So this time around, the moon is having a in conjunction to Chiron and Saturn as well. And at the same time, Chiron and Saturn are having a sextile. By the way, about that, I made a video already. So this is a very interesting one, because Chiron is also talking about medical field. Moon is very much the representation of our body. So I think we are going to be getting a major information about the COVID situation, what is going on at the moment in the world. And I've already seen plenty of other indications about that. So Yod is an astrological aspect that has two quincunxes, which is a 150-degree aspect, and one sextile, which is 60 degrees. And it is kind of forming a narrow triangle. It is also called as the finger of God. So the Yod is a mystical symbol of a problem, issue in your life. The reason why it's a hard aspect, because those quincunxes, they don't have anything in common between them too. So as I said, the moon is forming and in conjunction with Saturn, but because of the sign, they don't have anything in common. So for instance, Aquarius and Virgo don't share any similarities whatsoever. They are 150 degrees away from each other. So when it comes to polarity, one is male, the other one is female sign. They have got different elements as well. So they are completely opposite energies. Now, Yods are associated with Virgo and Scorpio traits. So Virgo is the medical field and Scorpio is something to do with transformation. By the way, Yod is, if there is a fourth planet involved, a fourth planet which sits in between the two sextile planets at the base of your Yod, then we call that as a boomerang Yod. And that boomerang planet describes what to do to solve the dilemma described by the Yod. So the Yod has got two parts. It has got a gibbous phase, which is the 150, and that's more about the Virgo energy, and that indicates some type of crisis situations. And we've got the full phase, which is the in conjunction part. The full phase, which is the 250-degree part, and that's the Scorpio phase. Now, how to imagine these two? So as I said, Moon has got an aspect to one of the planets, which is 150 degrees away from it. And that's the Aries part in with Chiron. But the other planet is about 210 degrees away, so that's going to be the Scorpio element to it. So the Virgo energy describes the crisis situation, and the full phase energy is an outside wall which is blocking us. And the sextile, we need to imagine that as an angelic help. So the focal point of the Yod is always the planet which has got the two in conjunctions with. So in this case, it's going to be the moon, which is a singleton planet, as I mentioned before, and it represents nurturing, health, people. So it's definitely an indication of the COVID situation, and I think we're going to see some challenges, because in conjunction is something to do with challenges, which the nations need to overcome. But as I said, on a personal level, probably this is the time when we're going to have to be more cautious. Maybe there is a different type of flu is coming, or it's just going to be an extreme weather condition, and it's easier to catch a cold. So look after yourself this week, and I will see you next week with the following forecast. Have a lovely weekend, everyone, and take care of yourself. Bye-bye.